Okay, everybody, so this is my spoiler review of The Wheel of Time episodes 1 through 3 that are now on Amazon Prime. I'm going to do more of a on the surface review here, not go too deep into the episodes. I'm going to save that for when we do the week to week, starting next week with episode 4. But I'm going to give you just my general thoughts here. I was really excited about this series. Now, a disclaimer, I have not read any of the books, so with my reviews going for the whole season, including this video, I don't want any book spoilers in the comments. I don't want any mention of the books. Let's keep it all to the show here and save that for somewhere else so we can all enjoy this like it's new. I really was blown away by the trailer that they released for this show. It got me really excited because I had mixed feelings hearing about the show and if this is going to be something Amazon could pull off. And the trailer got me really pumped, so I definitely wanted to cover this. I'm a huge fan of Rosamund Pike here, and I feel like she's undercasted a lot, and I'm excited to kind of see her in a big TV role like this. What's interesting about this show is it's the showrunner is Rafe Jenkins, who's actually been on Survivor, which is pretty cool because I actually watched Survivor. And it's interesting because there's a lot of writers here, and a lot of writers doing different episodes for the show, which is going to be interesting and fascinating, and I like that, and that can really work sometimes. But what did scare me a bit is in the end credits seeing that there's also staff writers, which can always be a little scary, and that maybe there was some rewrites here going on, but we'll see. I don't want to overjudge that. So it's so hard to judge a fantasy show in its first episode, always, because it's almost like work for the viewer, because there's a lot of people you're meeting, a lot of character introductions, and you got to learn the rules of the world. So you're kind of judging on how clear it is. And this was okay in that department. I felt like I did have to do a lot of reading in the synopsis of the episode to kind of catch things again after I even watched it to just make sure, like, wait, this means that and that means this. It did good at making clear of the rules of the world and kind of what the tasks are here, but I did think it wasn't super clear enough exactly why those were the 5 people that the character of Moiraine was targeting. I know that, yes, the reason being that it's possibly the reincarnation of the dragon, one of them, whether it's for good or for bad, but why it was those 5. What was about those 5? So I thought that could have been a little clearer why they were those people that were targeted. I thought that it could have been a little more focused the first episode. The pacing was a little strange in the first episode. That did not continue for the rest of the season. I thought, we'll get into episode 2, but I thought that had great pacing. But episode 1 felt a little kind of all over the place, a little messy. I did like this action-packed, kind of World of Warcraft looking monsters here. It's like this Trollocs battle. I think it was cool that they didn't just do all CGI. I like that there was actually people in costume here as the Trollocs. They kind of blend it. So that was kind of a breath of fresh air. I love the moment when the character of Perrin accidentally kills his wife. That was shocking because he's just in the middle of this battle with these Trollocs and turns and kills the one he loves. I thought that was really cool and a nice shocking moment. I love Rosamund Pike here as Moiraine. I think she is awesome. I loved her big moment here with the lightning crashing down. Her character is just awesome. And what I want to say I love about Rosamund Pike in a show like this is because what's great about her acting, and it's an underrated skill, is she is great with projection. And I can understand every single word she says, where a lot of times certain characters, you can kind of see the character Matt falls in that a bit here where they mumble. And it's important stuff being said, and you're like, well, what did they say? And unless you have subtitles on, it could be a real chore. So I think it's such an underrated skill for actors, even though, yes, they're on TV, they got to be really in character, but you still got to project, and you still got to be clear for the audience to hear what you're saying, kind of like if you were on stage, but there's a way to do it with TV, and I think Rosamund Pike does that great, and she really shows it here in such an important role where she's got a lot of dialogue. And what a relief it is to see such a full cast of characters, and there's no bad acting here. So you always are worried that maybe one of the bunch isn't going to be great. And that doesn't happen here. So everyone was good. So that gives me hope. That's the most important thing I look for in a big cast ensemble show like this. So it didn't hook me yet from the first episode, but it gave me hope and excitement. Okay, like, where is this going to go? It's so early in the game, especially in a fantasy show, and you're still kind of going episode by episode to really see how you feel, how you like it. But for a premiere, I'm giving it an 8.1. Again, I just thought the pacing was kind of all over the place, maybe a little more focused. I was throwing a lot at you. It could be a little confusing. But again, still a really fun action sequence, and there's no bad actors here. And I kind of like what they're doing with the characters of Egwene and Rand here in the beginning. It's a strong relationship, and they're both really good actors. Now, episode 2, Shadows Waiting, was by far my favorite episode of the 3. This got me really excited. I loved the opening shot here in sequence of when we meet this white cloaked villain first, and he's burning this woman, this powerful woman. It's same as Moiraine, and it's an opening shot here I love where it's like a reflection in the goblet of her burning and there's blood dripping. I thought that was awesome. I also loved, continuing with this White Cloaks group, their tense scene in the woods with our main group here, and Rosamund Pike having to act like a normal person here and not a powerful person in front of them. It was so tense and such a well done scene. So right away, episode 2, it was more focused. We had the group together. We knew more already. We were already introduced to them, so we can kind of see what the show can kind of get in its groove, and it really did here. And I thought it was just a great, tense episode. I also loved, it was in the trailer, but it was also in the first episode. We saw a lot of him here. Is the Dark One. He's like this Voldemort-looking villain. I think he looks great, and he's terrifying, which is always awesome to have in a villain. So anytime he's on screen, I get excited. So that's a plus. And the cinematography got to shine here when they got to this abandoned city. It looked pretty cool where it was turning black, and they were running away from that. Another very tense scene. And you got to see the character of Lan here is just becoming more and more likable by the episode, and the actor's doing a good job of showing that. The music was pretty good in this episode. It was better than the other two, but overall, the score of the show, again, I'm a little disappointed in it. It's not standing out. Nothing's catching me or giving me any feeling. It just kind of seems in the background. So hopefully the score kind of picks up and kind of gets more recognizable. But this episode had a great pace. Like I said, you feel the adventure now in episode 2. And again, you have characters you like here, but I'm not hooked yet. I'm not so invested yet. I find it enjoyable, but I'm not there yet at this point. But this was the best episode of the bunch. I'm giving this one an 8.7, and it gives me a lot of excitement for what the show can kind of hit as its ceiling. Now, episode 3, A Place of Safety, was really disappointing to me because when a streaming service usually releases the first 3 episodes in a show, and episode 3 is supposed to be the banger, right? It's supposed to be the one that gets you hooked and excited and ready for next week, because now we're going to do 1 episode a week. Besides the awesome opening nightmare sequence Perrin has of these wolves eating his dead wife, which was horrifying and I loved they're not afraid to show gore in the show. I'm, again, a huge fan of gore, but also horror and not tone it down. They're really going for it, which I appreciate. The rest of the episode, though, was a slog. And I think that's also, something they're kind of biting the bullet here, that Moiraine gets injured. So that takes Rosamund Pike really out of the end of episode 2 and all of episode 3, right? She's getting an easy paycheck these 2 episodes. Doesn't have a line. She's just basically passed out injured. And it kind of hurts the show because she's such a powerful force in it. And you kind of miss it. And you're like, why is this so slow and boring this episode? Because I also think the pub story was a bit too long here between Matt and Rand. And, it's a tribute. I really am enjoying the performance by Rand. I think his character is really likable, which is good. But I just thought it was too much between the two of him and Matt. And there was problems here with the bartender. I like the actress here, and I thought she did good with what she was given, but there's this bizarre moment how they filmed it where when she turns on Rand, she's like, that door can't break. And then she just watches him break it, like with 2 attempts, and just stares and doesn't do anything and lets him run. That was really silly and took me out of it. And you see the show at this point is 3 parties. It's cutting between where you have Moiraine and Lan together. You have Egwene and Perrin together, and Matt and Rand. And really, I think they gave the boys here too much time, where we really need a little more time with Egwene and Perrin in this episode. And it just, again, I'm not feeling invested in any of those 3 stories totally yet. And that's, I think, what was boring me. And again, because our main lead here in Rosamund Pike really just kind of takes a back seat this episode. It's not a bad episode, but there's nothing memorable about it. There's nothing great about it, and it's really slow for a 3rd episode that's being released in its first week to try to hook people. So, yeah, this episode I'm giving a 7.1. It was disappointing, and that kind of shows you maybe the floor this show can go to and how it can get to a low spot. But, again, not bad. But we're seeing kind of a mix of everything, where I'd say episode 1 was okay, episode 2 was really good, episode 3 was just not great, just pretty bland. So we kind of got a mix of everything. So it kind of puts, for the first 3 episodes, me in a place where I'm like, it's okay, but it's a lot of good. I mean, there's huge shots here that look beautiful. The cinematography is really good. And again, there's no bad actors, which is always good in a big cast like this. So that gives me hope for sure. It's not afraid to show horror here. And we got a really strong lead in Rosamund Pike. But we also got some newer actors here that are enjoyable. And hopefully they can just kind of get the pacing a little better altogether and get it more consistent and kind of start getting us hooked. But again, with fantasy shows, it's hard to really tell if you like it or not. You got to get to like episode 6 so we can kind of feel that out. That's with every fantasy show I've ever watched, at least, where I really got to take it all in and process it. And again, this is coming from someone who hasn't read the books, so I might get railed by book fans. But again, we're trying to just judge this as TV from this review, and that we're talking about it like TV down below. Again, no book spoilers. Please, please, people, let's keep this fresh and give your theories on the Wheel of Time without having read the books. If you want to give any theories, I'd love to hear them. Let me know what you thought. I read every comment. I try to respond to as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of the Wheel of Time. I'm definitely doing every episode. And like I said, starting next week, because it's only one episode, I'll really go in depth now. Every scene, break it down for episode 4 and all the episodes after, so you're not going to want to miss that. Please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok for more of me. I also do movie reviews, and I also do celebrity interviews. And if you really love what I do here, I really appreciate if you become a member today. You get perks, and it will help me do this full time one day, and I'd really be grateful. And yeah, I'll see you next time.